We're back.
Yeah.
No. So one question I have for you.
100%.
Yes. So one thing that you've mentioned before to me, we've talked about it a little bit. You've mentioned me before is your faith. As a Christian man.
Amen, brother.
Amen.
My brother in Christ.
Has that been something that's like made things difficult for you in the world of heavy music, I guess? Because like I know from my experience, like when I was younger and I went to like I was more involved in it and everything. Like I went to youth group and everything like that.
Yeah.
And like there was people that like I knew from youth group, like I went to church with and stuff like that. I used to be in a band that started out as a Christian band, but we didn't like F that.
Like For Today It?
Kind of.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Maybe.
Go ahead.
I don't really know a lot about For Today.
Never mind.
Like, no, it's okay. No, like we started as a Christian band, but then we were like, yes, we're still Christians, but like we're just gonna be a band. You know what I mean? To not like label it kind of thing. But we've had a lot of people like from our youth group and like the church and everything. You know, they'd come up and like tell us things that like we shouldn't play that kind of music, or like it's ungodly, or you know, like some people were like, you need to write, if you're gonna be in a band, you need to write about God and nothing else, kind of thing. Like, and, you know, and everything in between. Like, has anything like that happened? Because I know Toothless is like a very heavy band. Like, band rocks, by the way.
Thanks.
Like, has that been something that you've had to navigate, like, kind of like growing up in a Christian like family and like a Christian community, like, but also being really into heavy music?
Yeah. So I don't think music in itself is inherently good or evil. Okay. Like I don't think there's a morale. I don't believe there's a morality to music.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean, you know, like back in like, oh my gosh, like the Renaissance when they were like, oh, Gregorian chants are the only thing, and if you do two notes at the same time, it's satanic.
It's the devil's chord.
Yeah. I'm just like, that's nonsense. Music itself, it does not have morality.
Mm-hmm.
Lyrics, I believe, do.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
You know what you're communicating, and I do believe a lot of it is the intent behind it. So like, I don't know, if somebody was like, I wrote this song that's instrumental, but I wrote it for Satan, I'm probably not going to listen to it.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
And like, I don't really want to listen to it. It's
that's
not
fair.
like it like it doesn't scare me. It's just
not what you want to do.
It's not something that I've subscribed to, and not something that I really want to support.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I mean, at the time, I definitely heard heavy music is satanic, and I mean, dude, I found heavy music when I was like 10. Like honestly, I started listening to heavier stuff when I was super young.
Mm-hmm.
So my parents were like, "Hey, this might be evil." And like, I understand where my parents are coming from.
Yeah.
And my parents are not like that. They're not like, this is evil, this is the devil's music, you can't listen to it. They think it sucks, but
oh man.
Like, oh, you guys are screaming again? This is trash.
I've had people like when Head Splitters recorded before, we were like listening to something like upstairs, and the guy who was recording us, his mom came in. And similar thing, it was like very nice studio, but like in this parents' basement. And it's like I've heard like her and so many people, other people be like, "That's not music," and I'm like, "Shut up! Yes, it is.
Shut up!" Yeah, it's like I get it. Like it's you know like the older generation or whatever. They don't get it. And like my parents, I think see the I don't want to say merit, but like see that I like it, and that it's something that you can enjoy, because again, I don't believe there's morality, good or evil in music, and they're totally entitled to their opinion that it sucks. I mean, there's music that I think sucks.
Yeah, for sure.
So like Cherry Bomb sucks.
Cherry Bomb. Is that the song by
the
song or is it a
Guardians
band?
of the Galaxy?
Oh yeah. You don't like Cherry Bomb? Ah man.
No, heck no, I hate Cherry Bomb. But
that's okay.
So yeah, I've heard that before, but not really from like my close like family.
Okay.
Really, and but yeah. So when I was younger, my parents thought it could be, because there's definitely metal bands that are absolutely satanic. Behemoth, but
I never listened to Behemoth, so I don't know.
Oh yeah, a black metal band. But anyways, so then I went down the rabbit hole. I was like, okay, Christian metal bands. Let's find Christian metal bands.
August Burns Red.
Oh yeah, dude, there was a band. I think I was 11 or 12. They're called Mortal Treason. They have a song called "Call to the Martyrs."
Okay,
that was my jam, dude. I was heavy as snot. Like that was so good.
Yeah.
Back when I was a kid, I was like, I love this. It's so heavy, and the guy's literally screaming, "Hail Jesus, Hail Christ!" It's awesome.
That's cool.
Anyways.
I used to have to say things like that to people because like there was one time. So the old guitarist in my band, the band that started out as a Christian band, he was like the worship leader. So he played guitar for like service and everything.
That's awesome.
But he was also in this band, and we would practice like in the church that we would have youth group at every now and then because like the equipment there was his, and so we just practiced there sometimes. And there was one time, one of the, I guess the term, like, it sounds funny, but, like, I guess the term is correct. Like, one of the elders of the church came and he, like, we were practicing, and he just turned the lights off.
Oh, yeah.
And we just kept going. I think our old bassist was just, like, he just, like, screamed mosh in the dark or something. I don't know. But we kept going, and then, like,
you can't stop rock and roll!
Yeah. But, like, we kept going, and then, like, he turned the lights back on, and, like, him and his wife came in, and he immediately was just, like, we stopped because we were done, and he was like, fellas, what's Christ-like about that? And I was like, I didn't know what to say, because I was like, I'm 16. I don't have an answer for this.
Yeah.
But he said that, and, like, our guitarist got, like, understandably so, got pretty upset, and he wasn't rude or anything. He just was, like, turned around, took his stuff off, and like turned his stuff off, and started to like take his guitar off and everything. And the guy said something. No, his wife was like, I couldn't understand what you were saying. I was scared. I'm like, shut up. That's such a. I don't care if I sound rude. That's such a corny thing to say. It's like I couldn't understand it. I was scared. Like, boo-hoo, whatever. Get over yourself. But like he was saying, like he was like, oh, I didn't mean to like be disrespectful or anything. It's just like I'm curious, and I'm like, well, I mean, you turned the lights off and then like scolded us, so I don't think you were actually curious. I think you're trying to save face. But my guitarist he was like, do you really think that I, the worship leader, would be up here on this stage playing music that wasn't disglorifying God? You know what I mean?
Right.
And he kind of like. Oh, okay. You know, like he kind of like had to think about it, and I'm just like, there's just been so many like times where I've seen people who don't like take the time to like listen or like think about it. They just hear heavy music and they're like, heavy, evil, Satan. You know, like they don't take the time to like actually think like if like this could be nice. And one of my go-to things was Redemption by August Burns Red. Like when I was younger, I was into heavy music, you know, I had to deal with people like this a lot. And so that was my go-to, to be like, oh, you think it's evil? Here's like a Screamo song that's literally about, yeah, I know, Screamo. Yeah, but I'm like, here's like a metal song that's literally about bringing glory to God, I guess.
Yeah.
But, so yeah.
For sure.
That was my spiel.
Yeah. So, I definitely like, I try. And to be honest, this is a very gray area, what I'm about to say, and I don't necessarily know the line myself. Mm-hmm. But I believe there is some form of removing the art from the artist.
Yes.
And
to an extent, like I said, yes.
To an extent, and I don't know where that line might be, because
I feel like it's not a flat line necessarily. It's more like it's different with like each person. You know what I mean? Like
if I find somebody who writes a song and says like, "Oh, I don't believe in God," or whatever, mm-hmm. and like they're entitled to their opinion, mm-hmm. and that's fine. And like I'm not trying to stifle what they want to say or what they believe in or whatever. And just because I disagree with that statement doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to be like, I can't listen to this.
Yeah.
But there are artists that might do something in their personal life where I'm like, that's bad enough where I don't want to listen to your music even if I like it. But like I said, it's a gray area, and I don't even know the line myself.
Yeah.
But so, when it comes to faith and Christianity and whatnot, like, I think I know what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very steadfast in that. Like, I love the Lord to death.
Mm-hmm.
I've got many a Jesus tattoos on me.
I remember you have like the stained glass thing or whatever, right?
My whole half sleeve is that. And I recently, do you know who O Sleeper is?
Yeah.
You know their
they have
logo?
the song. Yeah, it's like the pentagram with like the top horns cut off or whatever. Because they have the song that's like, "I'll cut off your horns" or something like that.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's the most Christian metal thing. Wait, hold on. Cut off your horns. That's the most Christian metal thing ever.
Yeah,
and honestly. I was like, one, that's amazing. Two, it's biblical. It's in Psalms, I think. Shoot, I should probably know that. But I'll have to look up the verse. But anyways, I used to know, but whatever. But yeah, I literally just got the O Sleeper tattoo.
Nice, that's sick.
I was like, dude, that is, I don't know, like, even outside I do like the band. I wouldn't say like, oh, I love O Sleeper.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you're like, that's a sick talented logo and it means something to me.
Yeah, so. Yeah, and it has a lot of like biblical foundation, so I'm all about it.
Nice.
But anyways, there are so many people, that are in bands that disagree with me, that don't believe in God, that don't believe in Jesus, and I'm still good friends with them. And like, I would still, if they wrote good music, I would listen to their music. And like, I do draw the line at some point. If someone is just screaming like, "Oh, F God" or whatever, then like, I'm like, it's not that I'm like, "Oh, I'm afraid I can't listen to that," but it's just like, I don't know, man.
You don't want to go out of your way to listen. You don't want to go out of your way to listen to something that's directly like. This isn't the best term to use in the context of what we're talking about, but it's all I could think of. But like, you don't want to go out of your way to listen to something that's just taking a dump on something that you are very passionate about and believe in. Yeah, that's understandable.
Basically. And
I know that's not the best term to use. I apologize.
No, I know what you're saying, and I don't want to stop someone from saying what they want to say. You say whatever the heck you want, and like, I'm a firm believer in not censoring people. So like, if somebody wants to say some heinous stuff, just let them, because I mean, to me, they're gonna what's the word? They're gonna be their own like downfall, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, if somebody is like truthfully like not a good person, and you let them talk, and they say a lot of heinous stuff, you're gonna be like, I see what you're about, and I'm not really about it, so I'm just not going to associate with you.
Yeah.
So like, I definitely don't believe in like that kind of censorship or anything, just because I don't believe in it. So like, if somebody wants to scream that they hate God, you do whatever you want.
Like, as long as they're not just like, like as long as someone's not just like preaching hate and like bigotry or anything like that. Like, if you just like disagree with me, whatever, I don't care. But if you're just like, these people should die and are lesser, like that's a bit much. But that's a whole other thing.
I mean, but honestly, dude, like, even at that point, if somebody believes that truthfully and hides it and doesn't tell you, like, I would rather know.
Personally. No, honestly, yeah. Like, if someone's like, if someone has that type of like mindset about like X, Y, or Z, whatever. I'd rather know, so that way I can be like, oh, I don't like that, and I don't want to be around someone that has that kind of...
Exactly. Yeah. Dude, exactly. So
there was somebody that really... I was... Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, you first.
No, there was somebody that like I used to be like very good friends with, and then I found out like he's like, this person is just not a good person in general. Like, I had, I had my like suspicions, because like there was like a few little things that have happened, and I was like, these are a little off and not great, but like, it's just at the time I'm just like, okay, well, that was weird, but whatever. Like, looking back now, I'm like, oh yeah, that was awful. But like, it was somebody that I was very close with, and then I found out that he's like they were just not a good person when it came to women and how they like treated them and stuff like that.
Sure.
And like the multiple different types of abuse that they did, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna ever associate with this person ever again.
Exactly. And like, so here's where I think this gets really tricky, especially as a Christian. Like, as a Christian, I'm supposed to be out there, I think, supposed to be out in the world, showing the love of Christ to somebody, you know? So, you know, I don't believe in just like I'm not out here to convert people to Christianity. You know, I'm not trying to win numbers or whatever.
Convert's
like
such
what
an
I'm
ugly
trying
word,
to,
I feel like too.
Yeah, like what I'm trying to do is to show people that I think there is a way of living that is going to positively impact your life and those who are around you. So, you know, I follow biblical principles. I follow a lot of you know, a lot of what the Bible teaches and what God teaches, which is to teach love, and which is to, you know, and love ultimately is like kind of like the big word, right? So you need to show that to somebody.
Yeah.
So here's where I think it gets really tricky. If somebody believes, hey, I don't like this group of people because of whatever, skin color or race or whatever, I don't really want to be around that. But if all of a sudden it's like, well, I hate you and I'm not going to be around you because you're a bad person, that person might just go on the rest of their life and feel that way and think that way about somebody.
Yeah.
But as a Christian, fair. if I'm going to be around somebody and I'm going to associate with somebody, like, it's kind of, I think it's probably positive for me to be around somebody like that, to say like, hey man, maybe this isn't the best way of thinking.
Yeah.
You know, maybe there's something else, you know, maybe you can, whatever. And, you know, that's a line too, and a weird gray line, because, you know, if someone's going to keep hurting me, like, I'm not putting myself in a situation where someone's just going to keep hurting me.
Yeah.
But, you know, if there's an opportunity to say like, hey, I think there's a better way, man. I think there's a better way that you can think about things or whatever. And if all of a sudden that person starts following biblical principles and starts loving people instead, like, you've made a positive impact in the world. You know, so like, it's so gray, it's so tough. It's, you know, and it's case by case. You have to determine, is this person really worth being around or whatever, and only God knows, really.
Yeah.
So I try to put myself in a situation where I can be around people that maybe are terrible people. Okay. And I'm just going to be like, how can I show them love and show them that this is a better way of living? Like, I truthfully believe that if you follow biblical principles, your life is so much better. Not because your circumstances change, but because you have this inner peace and you start living for other people, and you don't start, you know, like, I believe our world kind of teaches to live selfishly. You know, a lot of what our world preaches is like, well, screw everybody else, just do whatever's good for you. Where the Bible preaches the exact opposite. It preaches that you live for God, you live for others, you live for yourself after. You know, so if everybody followed something like that, you know, if everyone followed like, how can I make your life better? Yeah. You know, how can I live for you? How can I serve you? How can I be selfless instead of selfish? What would happen? And is there a possibility of helping someone who believes terrible things? You know, and I don't know, you know, and I don't know the answer to that, and I don't know what's correct and what's not, because like at some point I would probably back off. Yeah. You know, I'm not trying to associate myself, you know, with people who are, you know, predators or whatever, because
understandably
like,
so.
You know, because like, where's the line? You know, like if someone's being a jerk and is whatever, like, I can be around that. Yeah. You know, and if somebody's like really into some bad stuff, like, maybe I'm not the right person. I mean, there are people who go to prisons and try to preach. Yeah. You know, and try to help people, and maybe, you know, maybe everybody is kind of suited for their own path to help, and maybe someone else is so much better at that than me, you know, that where they can be around someone who's, you know, a murderer or you know, a predator or whatever, because they can, you know, and they can show what loving others looks like. Yeah. You know, and what that is. And I totally believe that the reason I like metal so much is kind of because of that. Because there's a lot of darkness in metal. You know, there's a lot of things that are, you know, very, you know, F God and live for yourself and XYZ. But if somebody can meet me, and I mean, how many people are going like, oh, I hate Christians because they do this or they act this way. And honestly, like, I don't like some Christians because they act a certain way too.
Like there's just such a stereotype, like, because I know, like, because I've been guilty of it, like when I think it, like when people talk about Christians or whatever, or like you think of them, like there is like a stereotype of like they're like this or whatever. So
my dad always says, I became a Christian because I met a Christian, and I left Christianity because I met a Christian. Like, you know, and
did he really leave Christianity?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, my dad didn't. I'm just saying, like, that's kind of the saying, because
gotcha. Okay,
you can meet a Christian who's a wonderful person, who you're like, oh my gosh, I want to live like that.
Yeah.
And then you can meet someone who calls themselves a Christian where you're like, I want nothing to do with you. I don't want to be like you, and I don't even want to be near you because you're a horrible person.
Yeah.
You know, and like, and that's everywhere. And I think there's definitely a difference between claiming Christianity and living Christianity.
Yes.
You know, living like Christ versus claiming it. I mean, there's so many people that I've met personally who go to the church who are like, I'm such a great Christian. And I was like, you're a jerk.
Yeah.
Like, you treated me terrible.
Oh, man. There was, when I was younger, I'm not going to say their name, obviously, but when I was younger, there was a person that I like, so I know, like, for myself, like, I'm still a Christian. I don't really, like, voice it as much. I kind of just, like, all that stuff, I just do for myself. Like, I do, like, I don't know if to do it to myself, but, like, I just kind of, like, by myself, I guess. But, like, I haven't, like, renounced it or anything, but I'm just, like, there's been a lot of people that I've met that claim to be, like, Christ-like and everything, and they're some of the most hateful, bigoted people I've ever met in my life.
Yep.
Like, there was one person I went to youth group with, and she was claiming that, you know, she would always have this way about her, about how, like, oh, I'm such a good Christian because I do this, you know, yada, yada, whatever BS. But then she would also, like, judge, like, everybody she saw and just be like, basically she just, like, lived in sin all the time, I guess, is a good way to put it. And, like,
I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, and, like, she was, like, you know, she would do, like, she's, like, having promiscuous sex before marriage and, like, doing all this stuff, you know, whatever, but then in the same breath be like, this person's just doing this because this, like, they're not a good person, and just being, like, really, like, hateful and everything. And it's people like that I'm just, like, I don't, like, I obviously, like I said, I still believe in, like, God, and I'm a Christian and everything, but I'm like, I don't want to be associated with it because, like, that's just such, like, when you think of it, that is what you think of, people like that.
Right.
And it's just such a bummer.
Dude, I've met them. I've met them everywhere. They're in every church because every church has unperfect people. Yeah. You know, like, the church is not a perfect place.
And I'm not trying to say that I'm a great Christian by any means, just to clarify. Like, I know I'm not, but, like,
I'm not either.
I will be the first to admit, like, oh yeah, I do some pretty, like, not Christian like stuff, I guess you could say, like, you know, but I'm not acting like I'm I mean, this could be taken as that way, but, like, I'm not acting like I'm better than everybody and I'm a better Christian than this person because of this, you know, like, but even me saying that could come off that way.
No, I get it, and believe me, like, you're in good company with me. Like, you don't come off that way to me. But so, you know, you just have to ask yourself, like, is the person that you're, you know, was this girl really living like Christ?
No, not at all.
Like, probably not. So does that downplay Christ, or does that downplay the person?
No, absolutely.
You know, like, like, how many Christians are terrible people, or quote unquote Christians, but, like, that doesn't, that's not what the Bible preaches.
No, absolutely.
You know, so it's, you know, you're not living the way that you're supposed to. And none of us really do. Yeah. You know, I mean, that's kind of the basis of Christianity, is we're all sinners. But anyways, I'll back into, like, how it kind of relates to, like, my job and metal and so on and so forth. I definitely sometimes get kind of uncomfortable when there's somebody, like, recording a vocal line where they're screaming, you know, F God or something like that. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever. You believe what you want to believe. I'm here just making your record.
Yeah.
I would draw the line as if somebody was like, "Hey, do you want to perform this?"
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna do that.
Mm-hmm.
I fully support you in doing whatever you want.
Yeah.
If you want to go out there and perform it, that's great, and I don't want to stop you. But if somebody is like, "Hey, do you want to perform it?" I'm gonna be like, I can't.
Yeah, and that's understandable. Mm-hmm.
You know, so and it's gonna come off insulting.
Yeah,
it is.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody was like, "Hey, they're a friend of mine," or
mm-hmm.
something, and and like, "Hey, would you play in my band for a whatever?" And then I'm listening to the lyrics and they're screaming this stuff or they're singing whatever, and it's me just being like, I'm sorry, dog. Like, we're still friends.
Yeah, no, and I get you.
Like, I'm still friends with you. I just, I can't really, sit behind that and play it on stage.
No, that's fair.
Especially because someone who doesn't know who I am or who only knows who I am based off of the internet
mm-hmm.
is going to be like, "Oh, look at that Christian playing this or whatever."
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like a representation that like I don't want to do. And like, this is kind of totally off topic, but this was like an interesting conversation I had about living with your significant other before marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, the reason that Christians don't do that is because of like sex before marriage,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And then I remember asking my mom, and I was like, "Mom, what if Sarah and I lived together before we were married and didn't have sex?" And she goes, "Well, that's not the way it looks." And I was like, "Okay, but like, isn't that really up between me and Sarah, or me and Sarah and God?" Yeah. And she's like, "Yeah, but what if somebody starts seeing that and is like, look, that guy's a Christian. He's doing it." And I'm like, I totally get it. I totally understand that. Where I'm not gonna portray it if even if literally nothing ever happened. Even if Sarah and I were like, "Nope, we're waiting until marriage. Mm-hmm. It's between me, her, and God, mm-hmm. but we live together." It's just like, I just didn't want to like put that out publicly.
Yeah.
Just in case somebody who was looking at me as a like, "Oh, look at what a great Christian."
Yeah.
I just didn't want to do that. And mm-hmm. let me tell you, it sucked. It would have been so much easier to move in with Sarah.
Yeah.
Literally, we live 40 minutes away from each other.
Mm-hmm.
We had our house kind of set up, and we were renovating it and prepping it before we got married. And it's like, I moved in. Like, I was like, I'm moving into the house. Like, I'm staying here. And it would have been so much easier to just, move in and get it done.
So, if I'm being honest, I never really thought of it like, obviously, like, yes, I get where you're coming from. Like, that can make sense. Like, if you see someone doing that, like, if you see people living together, you'd probably just assume that. But, like, I never really thought of that way, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah.
I just assumed that you guys already did live together before you were married. And, like, I also, like, I also assumed that you were waiting for marriage. But, like, mm-hmm. I didn't really like, me personally, I didn't really think much of it. I was just like, oh, yeah, they've been dating for, like, 5 years or whatever. Like, whatever.
Right.
They live together. Sure.
That's not, yeah, and that might be the way you thought of it, but mm-hmm. it might not be the way everybody thinks of it.
Yeah.
So, like, that conversation actually came up because of a vacation. Because it wasn't even moving together. I remember talking to my mom about it, where I was like, well, what if Sarah and I want to go to the beach or something? Like, we don't really live near the beach, mm-hmm. which means that if we went, it would be an overnight trip. And I was like, well, I'm not paying for 2 different rooms.
Yeah.
And then, so like, that's one of those gray areas where,
that's just a sleepover. It's fine. We're not living together. We're camping out, yeah. Well, that's kind of, yeah.
Even sleepovers were like not a thing in my household with the opposite sex until I was in my 20s. So like, I mm-hmm. moved out of my parents' house when I was 26, I think.
More math.
Everything's a blur. Yeah. I think
everything's a blur. Nothing is real.
But like, since Sarah lived 40 minutes away, like, she slept over, but she was in my sister's room.
Yeah, I've had to do that before too. Or like, if I like girls I was dating when I was younger that like were like in the church or whatever. There was one girl I dated who her dad was a pastor and she lived in a parsonage, and Yeah, that was horrifying. That was really nerve-wracking. But like I needed a place to stay one night because I think like my ride like bailed on me or whatever, and I lived like 40, like it's similar, like 45 minutes away, and so her dad was like, okay, you can stay, but like you're not staying in her room, obviously. And I was like, yes, of course, sir, I won't do that. I was assuming I was gonna like sleep on the couch or whatever, but like he just like brought me over to the the church, and I just slept on a couch in like an office there. He also
take the basement floor.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, whatever. But like, no, he also let me bring the dog over, and I got to cuddle with the dog. That was nice.
Oh, that's funny. So yeah, I think I think there is a form of like public image that I kind of want to uphold, just because by no means am I perfect, but I will try to do what I can to at least try to live as Christ-like as possible, and I want someone to see that. Yeah. And I want someone to look at the way that Sarah and I live our life and go, "Oh, those people are good people." Mm-hmm. Those people
they're doing their best. Yeah.
Have joy, have peace. They treat people with love. Mm-hmm. Like that's what I want out of like a public image, I guess. Yeah. I mean, it sounds. It is kind of the public image.
Yeah, like it is kind of like just like the nature of the world now, I guess, where it's like you do have to think about that a lot in like a lot of different aspects.
Yeah, but I want to be for Christianese people, like a good witness. Like you want to be a good witness.
That's the word I was trying to think of earlier. Witness. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. So like when
just be a good person.
And I know some people definitely have literally like messaged me about, oh, you're hanging around this person, and they're a scumbag, and I'm like, well, maybe they are a scumbag, and if I don't know they're a scumbag, then like whatever, like you can't
like well, I know now,
whatever. But if they are a scumbag and I know about it, like that's okay. Like I'm not. Like you should know me for my character. Yeah. And I want to bring a positivity to those that I'm around. So just to reiterate, if somebody truthfully believes something terrible, like if I'm associating with them, that doesn't necessarily mean that I believe the same thing. And if look at like if that was on the reverse, right? If people from my church were like, well, look at the bands that you're recording and hanging out with. Yeah. You must believe all of this. And it's like, no.
This is my business. Like, I'm just my business.
even if it wasn't my business, like I don't want to be in a Christian bubble.
Yeah.
And I believe that's actually unbiblical. I don't believe that God calls you to be in a Christian bubble. You need to be out in the world. You need to be showing people the love of Christ.
Yes. Well, you were like being out in the world like that. Like that's why I was like, yes, thank you. Because one thing that like I've noticed like from the people that I like grew up with, like in that Christian community and everything, when I was younger, like in youth group and everything, I used to go to my youth group leader's house was like right next to my high school, so I'd go there like all the time, and like I don't have any issue with this. Like I mean, like I have my issues like for like with like select things about certain things, but like a lot of the kids were like all their kids were homeschooled for the most part, and I heard a lot of things about like how like them and other kids in the youth group and everything, like they were all homeschooled, and then they turned 18 and their parents are like, well, you're 18 now, you gotta move out and like live your life and everything. But they were like stuck in that like Christian homeschooled bubble.
Oh yeah.
They had no idea how the world works, and they're like kind of like forced to just go out into the world, and they're like, I don't know what to do. Everything is horrifying. Like this isn't what I grew up with. Like that's like the real world as opposed to what they like grew up in, kind of thing. So it's I feel like that can be like more damaging than like going to public school. You know what I mean? Because there was like the big thing about that, but like.
I got ridiculed in public school for like I was bullied relentlessly.
Oh,
but, like,
same.
Honestly, there's this here. You want a hot take? This is controversial.
I might cut it. No, I'm just kidding.
That's fine. That's fine if you cut it. But I'm now in a conversation with you.
No, yeah, it's fine.
I am a firm believer in a certain amount of bullying.
Oh, yeah.
A certain amount.
Yeah.
I do not believe in anything physical.
Mm-hmm.
Don't hit somebody. That's bullcrap.
Yeah.
But dude, the amount of, like stuff that really ultimately doesn't matter. Like if somebody is like, you're dumb, like,
yeah, like playful bullying, whatever.
Dude,
but
I got ridiculed for being a Christian. 100%.
Yeah.
Got ridiculed for being a Christian. I got ridiculed for doing X, Y, or Z.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, yeah, at the time I was like, Dad, this sucks. I'm whatever. And I remember my dad was like, are they hitting you? And I was like, well, no one's hitting me. And he's like, okay, well then I don't like it. You're fine.
Yeah.
Not that he doesn't care, but like you're fine. And the reason I say I believe in a certain amount of bullying is because it truthfully teaches you how to deal with the world.
Yeah. To an extent, I agree. To an extent, yes, because there is
I don't mean
that's the thing. It's like such a small amount because absolutely, because obviously there are people who get bullied, even if they're not getting hit or whatever. There are people who have gotten bullied before that they can't handle it. So it's different. It's different for every person, obviously. But yeah, I do 100%. I do also agree with I mean, I guess maybe bullying is not the best word, but I guess tough love kind of thing, toughen somebody up for that or whatever. Adversity. But I agree with what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah.
How about the word adversity?
Mm-hmm.
I believe you should be told that what you believe in is incorrect. 100%.
Okay.
Because then if just like the bubble, if there's a bubble and you're like, nope, everything that I believe in is great and everything is fine and I don't talk or listen to anybody outside of that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what kind of pursuit of knowledge is that?
Yeah, that's just staying in one thing, and then when other things come up.
I believe the reason that I'm a Christian is because people have told me you're dumb. You don't know. I'm not laughing at you
saying that. Just your delivery was
fine.
Funny. Was saying you're dumb.
Yeah, you're dumb for being a Christian. And then I was like, you grew up in a Christian household, so you're just, you're
a hater.
A product of your you're a product of your environment, right? And I'm like, well, all right, let's look into this. Let's look into every philosophy, every religion. Dude, I read through the Quran, I read through the Satanic Bible, I read through different texts because somebody was like, what you believe is incorrect. And I was like, all right, let's see if it is. And it pushed me literally further, I think, into a relationship with Christ because I was like, oh, maybe I didn't think about it. Maybe I was a product of my environment and I was just blindly following whatever. And I'm such a firm believer that you should be told what you believe is wrong because it forces you into critically thinking about it to say, oh, it is wrong, or no, actually, you're incorrect. Yeah. I know that I'm right when it comes to this. I mean, how many times that happened to me so much where, not with Christianity, where somebody said, you're wrong. And I was like, I'm wrong. You're wrong. You're dumb. And then I look into it and I was like, oh, I was wrong.
Yeah.
I get that. Okay. Now I'm a what I would consider a more well-rounded person because I figured out what is true versus, what is not true and whatnot. So I'm really thinking, so much of people saying Christianity is incorrect is when I was like, oh, let's actually do some
why
research.
Is that? And then look into it. Yeah.
Because is it right if your whole life you lived in your bubble of whatever you believe and you never sought outside of it?
Yeah.
That's why I looked into all of these things. And I try to take that principle everywhere in life. I try to say, I could be wrong about this. Let's start diving in and becoming more knowledgeable. So when somebody said you're wrong about Christianity, there is no God, I'm going to look it up. And I'm going to do research and I'm going to figure out, is there a God or is there not a God? And ultimately, I kind of landed on where I am.
This is where this is what I believe kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. Like I'm a firm believer in your beliefs need to be challenged, and you need to face some kind of adversity to be able to handle when something like that happens, and then to have the confidence to back up what either your research finds or whatever. So
I never really thought about that. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't really know how I feel about that because I never really thought about that specifically, I guess. But I can see what you're saying. I'll have to think about that more myself.
Yeah, honestly, like I love that mindset, and I love when people challenge what I believe because it either changes my mind to be closer to the truth or it solidifies what I believe.
Okay, that makes sense.
Where if you aren't challenged, you're not gonna grow. I mean, you could take that all the way down to something as simple as playing guitar.
Yeah.
If you forever play power chords and that's all you do, you're not becoming a better guitar player. But if all of a sudden someone's like, "Hey, you should learn this," and that mindset actually happened to me when somebody asked me to play "Machine" by Born of Osiris, the solo, like that sweep thing.
Yeah.
I listened to it and I was like, I will never be able to play that. Yeah. And at the time I couldn't. And I was thinking I remember thinking to myself, I was like, well, why not? Like, why can't I? So the fact that my friend challenged me essentially and was like, oh, you should do this because you can't. I was like, oh, I'm going to do it. I'm going to become a better guitar player. And I went through, it sucked. I sat there and I was like, no. Yeah,
going super slow, note by note thing.
And that was brutal, but now I can actually play that.
Yeah.
Now I would consider myself a better guitar player for it.
Yeah, that's kind of like that's kind of how I feel with when I first started making music with Caleb, he showed me the guitar for Warning Bid.
Yeah.
At that time, I was like, I will never be able to play this. This is way too hard for me. This is I can't stretch my fingers that far. You're doing too many individual note things. I'm like, I will never be able to play that. And now it's super easy. Well, I haven't played it in a year and a half, but now it's super easy to play. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. And that's such a good principle for just everything in life. Where you're like, oh, I can't do that. And then if you just get through the growing pains.
Yeah.
Now you're better. Now you're a better guitar player.
That's a way to put it. Okay.
But
that's kind of a good way to segue into the next thing I asked because, like I said, my questions are all out of order.
No, that's okay. Give me 30 seconds.
I was just gonna say, do you need to go do that? Okay. Yes, segue. That was kind of that's how I was gonna. I have another question I was gonna ask. So you mentioned before you play in Toothless.
Yeah.
I've seen Toothless play a bunch of times and just seen videos of you and everything. One thing I've noticed is that you always go very hard and do like wacky things. I don't know. You always just do silly things. Yeah. Do you ever think about things that you want to do when you're about to play? You're do you think about what you could do during the songs or during the show or anything like that? You ever do that?
I probably have thought about things that I could do when I was younger and
because I know starting. I still do.
Yeah, I think when I was younger and first starting, I probably did that, and I probably did that a lot. I don't think about that anymore. This sounds super lame, but it's just kind of whatever happens in the moment. I just let the music kind of take over.
That's fair.
So, dude, one of the new songs, which will be on our new full length
Toothless
whenever that gets finished.
So much. Okay.
No, Toothless.
Okay.
So Toothless has a full length that we're waiting to get done. It's a long story. I'm not the one doing it, so
yeah,
we'll just push on from that. But anyways, whenever that's done, there's a breakdown on it that every time I play a show, I look at Sarah and I was like, I'm probably gonna take it easy tonight. I'm probably not gonna go crazy. That breakdown happens, and I'm like, freaking send it!
Yeah.
It's just I don't know why. That breakdown just gets me so hyped.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what the name of the song is. We still call it Warhead, which I'm pretty sure is the working title. But whatever
it's still
whatever the name of the song is, like I said, we just call it Warhead. And the end of it is just like this, I guess, Chariot-esque kind of breakdown, sort of Chariot-esque. I don't know. Brian Zanetti wrote it. And
so it's got a lot of sweeping and like solos, right? No.
No, it's actually just got a lot of screeches.
Nice. Hell yeah, I love that.
And he showed it to us, and I was like, okay. I sat with it for a little bit, and I was like, okay. And then we played it a couple times live, and I was like, this is the greatest breakdown you've ever written. It's so good. And just like every time that it happens, I'm just like, I'm just going to freaking send it. So the last show that we played, I'm going to go back 2 shows.
Okay.
So not the last show, the one before that, I was horribly sick. I ate bad food at the bar. Oof. I don't know what it was, but we went on last, and it was like the second band in out of 4 or 5, and I'm sitting with Travis, and I was like, dude, I'm not feeling good at all. I was like, my stomach feels terrible. And then the night kept going on, and it kept getting worse, and it kept getting worse, and it kept getting worse. And right before we played, I'm just like sitting there, just like, I was like, I'm not going to make it. I'm going to throw up. I was like 99% of the way from throwing up. So we get on stage, and I'm literally just standing there with my bass, just like, like deep breathing.
Getting through it the best you can.
Please don't throw up. Please don't throw up. Please don't throw up. And they're doing their thing. Travis obviously does a phenomenal job, stage performance and whatnot. And everyone's doing a good job doing their thing. And I'm just standing there. And James is like looking over at me like this
you good,
is gonna
bud?
happen. Yeah. And just like the whole vibe of like the stage was just so off for me. And I think because it was off for me because I was so sick, it was like off for James. James and I feed off of each other so much.
Okay.
And
was it at the V spot?
No. This was at
that's the only one that I can remember the venue of you guys playing recently.
No, oh my gosh.
You don't have to say if you don't want to. I thought it might be that one.
Well, honestly, I can't remember. It was it was a bar near Philly.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember. But anyways, so it was just like everything was off, and it was like whatever. So I was so frustrated that night with that show because I was like, I was just mad being sick. I was like, I had to eat some stupid chicken wings or whatever. I'm getting sick, and just like, this sucked. So fast forward to the next show, which was sick. It was a place called the Gem. You know the Gem in
I don't think so.
Also near Philly.
Okay.
Whatever. It's like a speakeasy.
Oh, okay, cool.
But it's like, so, you walk in, and it's very like warm lighting vibes. There's like a wooden bar, that kind of thing. Anyways, you went to the back. The venue was small, but it was awesome. Mm-hmm. It's such a cool place. And I was feeling great. I was like, I feel so good.
Nice.
And just like thinking of the prior show and how bad I felt, I was like, I'm going to make the best out of this show. This is going to be the best freaking show I have ever played. I was just so happy not to be ill.
Yeah.
That we got on stage, and I'm just going nuts. Mm-hmm. I'm going absolutely insane. I'm throwing my bass. I'm just like going crazy. And again, I think James was just like feeding off of that. And James was like, well, now I'm going to go crazy. Yeah. So he's going nuts. It was the one time I've been playing with James for like, I don't know, 10 years at this point, like a decade. I know James hits hard, right? Like James is a hard hitting drummer. It was the one time where I looked over and I was like, James is hitting really hard. Like it was nuts.
Nice.
And he's just like beating the heck out of the drums. Nice. And everyone's just like having the greatest time of our lives. Nice. I don't know, dude. It was like a couple people there, but we were just like on cloud 9. I was just feeling so good to not be sick. And then Sarah packed me food. So I like after the show, I was eating like in the van, eating like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, like a little kid, just like cheesing so hard. And I'm just like, I was like, I got my PB&J. I'm stoked. It was just like such a good show. And then like James goes over and he's like, dude, I'm so hungry. I gave him my cheese stick. Dude, it was so
like a little
like
kid's
wholesome.
lunchbox.
It was so wholesome. I had a cheese stick. I had an apple. I had peanut butter and jelly.
This is literally like an elementary school kid's lunchbox.
I felt like my mom was sending me off to second grade again. Dude, it was so great. So
remember that picture that you posted of like you when you were getting ready to leave for tour with Tal or whatever. You put on like a short sleeve button up shirt tucked in, like socks are all really high. Yeah, you're like, our little James is off to go on tour. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like such a great show. So yeah, like every time Toothless plays, we try to just bring energy.
Yeah.
And usually I'm hurting for like a week afterwards.
Yeah. The show we had yesterday, I didn't go like too hard because we had our show in Oneana in the beginning of October. We had like a Friday the 13th weekender. Yeah. And excuse me. We played in Oneana. I keep burping. I'm sorry. Played in Oneana, and we have a song called "Death Sentence" that has like a I guess like generic hardcore build-up, where it's just like a doom boom da do boom 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 da kind of thing, and the bass like goes along with it. And during that part, I just like hit like a open of like the high strings, like the noise. Yeah, I just like hit that, and I just like headbang a lot, and like I like spin around in a circle kind of thing, and I kick my leg up really high, or I try to. But because I don't know why, I just love like when people are playing and they like kick their leg up high. I'm like, that looks sick.
Dope.
Yeah, it looks dope. But I remember like I've been trying to stretch beforehand so I can kick my leg up higher so it doesn't look so weird to me. I think I must have overstretched because when
my hammy.
Yeah. Like we were playing and like that part comes up and I remember doing it and like, you know, kick my leg up because I've been trying to keep it like, this doesn't matter. No, this doesn't matter at all. But I'm going to show you anyway. I've been trying to keep my leg straight when I do it, so it's not like, hey, look how high I can go, and my legs at like my knees at like a 90-degree angle. But yeah, exactly.
Can dancer.
Yeah. But like I've been trying to, pretty much, yeah. So I've been trying to do that, but like I did that. I kicked my leg up. And as soon as I came down to like do a headbang, I was like, "Oh, that didn't feel good." And then I did another one, and I was like, "Okay, my back is screwed." And I straight up threw my back out from doing that. So like I had to go to my doctor, and like he prescribed me medicine for it. And like I like made a joke to Evie about it. She was like, "Don't go too hard this time," because I threw my back out before. I wasn't even doing anything cool. I literally was just taking my cab, putting it on its side because it looks taller and it looks cool. It looks more aesthetic because of the way that my head sits on it. It was when Guilt and Bloom was playing that show with Aaaaaand, which that was awesome. I love that. But like I went to reach to like pull it up, put it on its side, and when I did that, I felt like my spine went like that. And it just,
you're an old man.
I really am. It sucked. I couldn't move. It happened and I was just straight up like I was like trying to find any position that like wasn't painful, and it was so difficult to do. But I remember after that, I've been like trying to be more cautious of my back.
Yeah.
And Evie was straight up like, "Don't go too hard tonight. Don't hurt your back." I was like, "I won't, whatever, it's fine." Didn't think much of it because I was like, I didn't think I'd throw my back out by kicking my leg up, but apparently I did. And so I hurt my back again a little bit. Oh. Like it's fine now. Like if I bend over too far now, I can feel it a little bit. But I threw my back out yesterday at like during our set, and I didn't even do anything that exciting. I like kicked my leg up or whatever, and just like I think because I don't like headbang necessarily, I like body bang kind of thing. I don't know, but
body bang.
Yeah, I
try to get momentum and just roll with it.
Mm-hmm.
So like I try not to do like jerky motions because it hurts.
Yeah, no, honestly.
So like if I'm gonna spin, I'm just gonna helicopter out of there. I'm just like, whee! Just keep going.
Yeah,
I was like, don't stop the momentum.
No, that
so like rail Travis in the head with the back of my head stuck.
Have you ever hit? Has that happened before? You ever hit anyone with a guitar?
We've hit each other, but like nothing like bad.
Ooh.
The one time that it happened where it was like blood, was so long ago when I don't know if you remember our first bass player's name was Scott.
Yes.
Our lineup was me, James, Trav, Brian Zanetti, and Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Brian like railed Scott right in the forehead.
Oh, I think I saw. Was there a picture of that?
Well, probably.
I feel like I saw that. Yeah.
We're talking a long time ago. But that was like really the only time. There was one time where I busted my hand up pretty good. It was just like heavily bruised. Because I punched Brian's headstock or something. I can't remember. But like it wasn't like bloody or anything. Mm-hmm. But yeah, a lot of people usually come up to us after the shows and like, dude, I thought you were gonna kill your vocalist, and I was like, listen, if he doesn't watch himself, I might.
Yeah, it's like this is you're in your own like every man for himself, you know.
We're all kind of in our own little world.
Yeah, but, there was one time.
And it's great, and I adore playing with Toothless. It's just so much fun.
There was one time Head Splitter was playing, and I went to do a guitar spin. And because I love doing guitar spins, I did it. I have strap locks. That was something from a previous episode I talked about. Always make sure you have strap locks. But I did a guitar spin, and apparently I hit Tom like in the back of the head or something like that, or like his shoulder back when he was on vocals. Like, he was fine. Yeah. He was fine, but it just like took my guitar all out of tune.
Tom can suck it up.
Yeah, he's freaking jacked. It's fine.
He's huge.
No, you were saying about Scott like getting like his head was cut open or whatever. There was a time Lilac Knight was playing in Ohio. I think it was the first time I played in Ohio. Tom would do this different Tom Jolu. He would do this thing where he would like my cymbals would be here and he would like kind of like headbang and like hit my cymbals with his head kind of thing. Just like, it's fun. And he would always like we had like fun stuff like that we would do when we would play. But he was doing it one time like along to like a just like a really like simple but like straightforward like like just like a simple heavy just like a heavy like enough riff to just do that, and he did it, but he overshot and he cut the top of his head on like the tip of my stand, like where the like the mount or whatever.
Yep.
And there's a picture of him. He's pretty bloody. If I can find it, I'll put it in this video. But like it was. That's like it was Greg nuts.
From is that his name? X Dillinger.
Oh yeah, I think so. Greg. I never really listened to Dillinger that much. Unfortunately,
I didn't either. But I think his name is Greg. But yeah, he has right. He has an insane video of his forehead just completely ripped open, just blood pouring down his face. I don't know if he did it on purpose though. Like. That's when I kind of think it's lame.
Yeah, like some stuff if you do it on purpose, I'm like some of it's okay depending on what it is, but like if you're like I'm going to cut my like the only time
People
I think
have done that.
Oh yeah, the only time I think it's okay to cut your forehead open is if you're wrestling. If you blade, then that's okay. That's fine. I'm okay with that.
I know nothing about wrestling, so I'm sorry.
It's okay. I guess the term is called blading, where like to like sell like if someone like gets hit with a chair or whatever, to like sell the impact or whatever to make the other person like look bigger, like build them up or whatever, or just make it look that much like more effective. Like say someone hits me with a chair, I would like fall over or whatever and like land face down, and then like. When the attention isn't, like, obviously this doesn't happen. Like, if the attention isn't on me, like, most of the time I feel like they, like, hide little razor blades, like, in, like, sections of their, like, the tape around their wrist. And so they'll like, it's dangerous. They'll just, like, lay down like this, and then, like, take the blade out and kind of, like, just cut their forehead a little bit. And then, the camera comes back to them, and they're just, like, blood going on their face. It's like, wow, that chair shot was really intense, kind of thing.
Dude, there was what is it called? Is it, like, backyard wrestling, where they're actually... destroying each other, or is that like called something else? Or?
So there is backyard wrestling. A lot of it is just like most of the time, like in somebody's backyard, like they have like a wrestling ring,
like actual violence.
Well, so here's a little wrestling
tidbit.
Yeah. So, for the most part, like they're so Tyler from Second Suitor, he's a wrestler, so I learned a lot from him, and like my brother is also a wrestler, so like I've learned from them about like the ins and outs of the ins and outs of it and everything. There's ways to go about doing it, like to like go about like fighting your opponent and everything safely. So like there's certain ways to go about doing it, but a lot of the times, like 9 times out of 10, when you see somebody like, obviously if you see someone go through a table, that's real, you know. Sometimes some of the tables are like kind of like cut on the bottom. I may be wrong. Don't come at me, wrestling community. But like sometimes like some of the chairs are made of like certain material, so it doesn't hurt as badly. Some of the tables are kind of cut on the bottom to make it easier to break, to soften the impact or whatever. But like even still, you're still going through a table. Yeah, but like there's been
Hope
people.
You like it, whoop whoop.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of it has been like the ICP backyard wrestling kind of stuff, but like I know a lot of like indie wrestling has like really extreme things that they do, which some of it is just like stupid. Like I'm all for theatricality and whatnot, but like I've seen some people like, I'm trying to think of how this could have been faked, because there's no, pardon my language, there's no fucking way that I saw somebody get powerbombed onto a piece of wood that just had forks, like sticking up out of it, and I'm like,
like
there's no way. You're just gonna like people getting like put on thumbtacks. That's still gonna suck, but like that's not as bad because like it's little things that are spaced out a bunch. You know, it's not all like one concentrated area, but it's like that's also thumbtacks are that small. This is a fork that's this big. Like that's.
So. The reason I bring it up, fun story.
Yes.
Toothless played this show where I think the promoter put on one of those wrestling things on the projector behind us while we were playing. And brother, I mean, it was like people getting severely maimed.
Oh yeah.
To one point, we finished our song and all of us turned around and there was a guy who was sticking a syringe in this dude's mouth and shoving it through his cheek.
That's just stupid.
And
I don't get the
James,
appeal of
Trev,
that.
and Brian are looking back like, what the heck is going on behind us?
Yeah.
Like, this is insane. So there's people in the audience that are just like watching that happen instead of my band, which is like whatever. But they're just like, like
you get a reaction.
That was a sick breakdown, right? and they're like, no, look behind you. What the heck?
Like, obviously, yes, you get a reaction from that. Excuse me, but like, I don't know. Like, obviously, everyone has their own tastes and preferences and everything when it comes to wrestling. But like, I've seen, like some of it is like some people like they take like fluorescent bulbs and like break them over people's like heads or backs or whatever. That's still dangerous, but like. That's not too extreme, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like,
dude, they were doing some extreme stuff on that one, and I was just like, oh gosh.
Yeah, like that, like putting a syringe through someone's cheek, like that's too much for me. And like the whole thing of like getting powerbombed onto a thing of forks, that's stupid.
Too much. And like what's so
I get
strange,
it, you want to get noticed, but like be a bit, like, not to say that people aren't good wrestlers, but it's just like, be a better wrestler, make a better match. Don't rely on just like, oh, this guy's crazy because it's like, oh, this guy's crazy because he got stabbed with a sword. Like that's that's an extreme example, but like,
dude got his arm cut off.
There was a thing I listened to somebody talking about like old Japanese like wrestling and everything, and they were like apparently in Japan they go like a whole other level. I haven't seen it personally really, but like. From what I've heard, like, they go a whole other level. Like, somebody was like, this guy was only in the piranha pit for, like, 10 seconds. And I'm just like, why was there even a piranha pit in the first place? Kind of thing.
Oh, man. But, that was wild. And what's so weird is that I have a hard time stomaching that, like, completely. Like, I was seeing it and I was like, oh, I don't even want to. Which is, like, it doesn't make any sense because, like, dude, I've seen, like, every Saw movie. Doesn't bother me because my brain is like, oh, it's fake. It's just a movie. Yeah. But when I'm like, oh, it's real, I'm like, nope, can't do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like it's so different. It's so different. So weird. Just like your mentality going into it where you're like, oh, this is a fake movie or this is like real.
Yeah.
You know, like
I used to think the Blair Witch was real. When I first saw that, I thought that was a real movie.
Oh, yeah.
And then my mom had to tell me, because I was horrified, and my mom had to tell me, she's like, no, it's fake. I was like, it's fake? It looks so real. But, yeah. Anyway, sorry.
But, yeah, anyway, so that's what Toothless does.
Nice.
Just crazy stuff.
Going back to talking about Toothless again, you mentioned Scott was I think he was in the band when I first saw you guys, which that brings me, this isn't a question, this is just a story that I want to tell you and see if you remember. The very first time I saw Toothless, which like made me like you guys, like the first time I saw you, I was like, oh, this band freaking rules, you know. It was at some college in Pennsylvania. I think it was a show that Jake Moyer put on, but it was at
college. Are you talking like LCC?
Maybe, I don't know. It was.
Like, I think, a community college.
I think so. It was like above the Mendoza played. I got there after like they finished.
I think you're thinking of Noise. It was called Noise.
Like the band or the
show? No. Like the whole event was called Noise. It was run by Brian Kelly, if you know who that is.
Oh yeah, I know Brian Kelly. Yeah.
Yeah, Brian.
He came to your place when we were playing PT in your basement, and he scared me.
That's awesome.
He was like, John Shackleton.
I haven't seen Brian in forever, but yeah, he used to do that, and he used to put on it was called Noise. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, so I remember being there. It was at I'm assuming the community college.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys were playing because like I think Send Request was also playing, but I didn't really know them. Yep. I was there with my friend Shaylee because her and I went there. And the very first time I saw Toothless playing, I'm pretty sure it was your mom was there taking photos, and I know the song. It's it was off of the like one of the first records or EPs you guys put out. It was like NUI or whatever it's called.
No, Ennui.
Okay, yeah, I definitely said that wrong. I think it was the breakdown for that song because it's like. I remember that one, but maybe it wasn't that one. It's the one that's like. Something like that. It doesn't matter. It was that breakdown. It was some breakdown, and I remember your mom was like right up front taking pictures. And when that breakdown came, you legit went up front, and I heard because I was kind of standing next to her. You legit went up front, and you like leaned down to her, and you were like, "You gotta move. It's gonna get violent. You gotta move right now." And I was like, really? "Oh, that's wholesome." And then I started moshing. But yeah, I remember that because I remember being like, "Oh, this guy cares."
If that was Noise 2.0, my aunt was at that one too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did your family go to shows for, like kind of frequently? Oh, yeah. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
What's that like?
Yeah, my family.
I'm sorry. I'm just kidding.
My family supports the crap out of me and Sarah and what we do, and
nice. I love that.
Couldn't ask for a better family. Like absolutely, seriously. Like my dad and my mom are there a lot.
Nice.
And,
my mom supports me very heavily from afar because she's not a fan of the music really. So she's like, hey, I want to support you as much as I can, but I just don't like going to the shows. And I'm like, that's fine. We played at this place in the Walton Castle, the castle on the Delaware, whatever. It's a literal castle. It was really cool.
That's sick.
But one of the bands like it was like a straight up like a metal show, you know.
Right.
One of the bands was like a black metal band where like the vocals were very much like yeah, like that kind of thing. Yeah, exactly. Yep. It was one of those like this song is called kind of thing, which I'm all about. I love it. It's cool. But one of the bands has a pentagram in their logo, and I sent my mom the flyer, and I was like, "Hey, this show's in Walton, not too far from you. It'd be cool to see you because I don't get to go to that area where she lives that much." And I was like, "Oh, it'd be cool to see if you can come." And she was like, oh, "Okay, cool. What's the band with the pentagram in their name?" I was like, "I don't know. I think they're called like Blood Desecration. I think is what they were." I was like, "I don't know. It's just a metal show. There's a lot of weird logos and stuff like that." She was like, "Okay, I do want to go, but I just have a hard time listening to that music, so I probably won't. But I hope you have fun." I was like, "That's fine." Yeah. It was just funny. She was like, "Oh, very cool. Who has a pentagram?"
Yeah. I get it. And like,
yeah,
I don't know. Like I said, it doesn't like scare me. Like kind of going back to what we were talking about before. It doesn't scare me, but I'm just like, I don't know. I just like, I just don't really want to.
Yeah.
don't really want to be like around it.
That's fair.
But
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you do your thing, and whatever you want to do.
You do me. What's that thing the Markiplier said? He's like, I'll do me, you do you, and we won't do each other. Probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah.
Oh my God, we've been going for almost 2.5 hours. I might break this down into like a 2-parter if need be.
Rock and roll.
But yeah, because I feel bad because like most of the episodes so far are like 30 to 50 minutes, and then it's like, hey, here's 2 hours of us just being silly.
I could talk to you forever.
Oh, I know. Dude, every time we've gone to the studio, I've noticed like at least the last like 2 times we've gone to the studio, you've been like, all right, yep, you were gonna get up at this time, whatever. Gonna try to get some sleep. We got a big day, whatever. And then we're up until like 2 a.m. Like Sarah's already asleep. Like Sarah's already in bed. And
oh yeah,
we're like, yeah, we gotta be quiet because Sarah's sleeping. And then like you'll come out in the living room and we'll just talk about nothing and everything until like 2 a.m.
Yep. Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, we should probably go to bed. We have to be up in like 8 hours and not even.
I could talk forever.
Yeah. So one thing I'm doing, or I want to start doing, is top 5s. Just like top 5, whatever. Just it's a fun thing that I've done with some friends before. So I know that you and I have talked about like live performance and stuff like that. If you can, give me your top 5 things to do during a live set, or just like moves to do during a live set.
Fight bees.
Okay. Can you demonstrate? No, I'm kidding. You don't have to do that.
So that's like literally pretend like you got a swarm of bees.
Okay.
And you have to fight them off with your guitar.
Oh, okay. That's fair. It's very Chariot-esque.
So, yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Love the Chariot.
I love the Chariot too. Can you tell? Can you tell?
James also has a Chariot tattoo.
That's right. He does. I saw him at Chit this season, and I think he was wearing a Chariot hoodie. I was like, I recognize him.
Yeah. Fight bees. I don't think I actually do it enough, but I really like I like some of the interactions that I get to have with the band.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whether that be Toothless or So Much Hope, I just love I love when you have that quick moment with like your bandmate, that
like
just,
you do something and like you lock something in and it just sounds that much more tight or whatever, and you have that little like oh yeah kind of thing.
You kind of look at each other, or I don't know, it's just like an unspoken kind of like bond,
thumbs up
kind
of thing,
kind of weird or something.
Okay.
So James and I do that a lot, and I kind of wish I did that a little more, but the one time for So Much Hope, so Derek and I are big fans of Family Guy, right?
Nice.
So I don't know if you've seen the episode. Do you watch Family Guy at all?
I haven't watched Family Guy. We actually, for the first time in like years, I watched Family Guy last night because Evie had it on. I was like, wow, this has been a while. But I haven't watched it in a long time. I just like, I don't know, I just kind of like stopped for whatever reason, and then I was just like, whatever. But I watched some last night.
Do you know the episode where Stewie clones himself, but it doesn't quite work?
Maybe. Is it the one where like each clone gets like more like messed up than the last one?
Messed up, yeah, and then eventually
and he's like, hey Brian, and he just like breaks his own jaw or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, dude. I love that.
I know you wanted me to wash your car, but instead I hit it with a rock.
I hit it with a rock. Yeah, that. Dude, it's so good. So that episode, Derek and I absolutely love that. So the one time Derek turns around, and it's like a moment in the So Much Hope set, right? Mm-hmm. And he turns around and he stands right in front of my drum set, and he's like kind of taking a break, but he's definitely, he's in the music, he's feeling it, it's all good. And I lean over to him, and I look forward, and I'm like, he leans over, and I was like, I don't know if you want a God's eye, but I made you one. It's from that episode.
Nice. And I remember that. Yeah.
He's like cracks up laughing. I love it. So like those little interactions and stuff are just phenomenal. So like Fight Bees, little interactions. It's gonna be hard to pick a top 5. I think obviously crowd response.
Yeah.
Like when somebody is really digging your stuff, that's really obviously such a phenomenal feeling. Mm-hmm. And it's like wow, I really like this a lot. There's a lot of reward, a lot of personal like gratification reward kind of coming from that. I don't know. I mean, What else is there? I
headbang.
Yeah.
No, I don't like headbanging.
Yeah. I honestly not so much anymore.
No, I get it. Trust me.
I try to like I said, just like momentum moves. So like headbanging is usually like pretty like
I do a lot of like if it's just like a part where it's just like a straightforward kind of like thing, I'll just bob my head up and down and look like an idiot.
I kind of like, I love when there's moments that you act differently than what the moment might call for. It's like there's big heavy breakdowns, but you're dancing like an idiot or whatever. Yep. You're like, doing the funk thing. Where,
yeah.
Like that kind of thing. Love that. I don't know. I adore playing drums. So, I mean, So Much Hope, I love playing in So Much Hope just because I play the drums. So like, I don't know. And Brian has been filling in for So Much Hope a lot recently.
Brian Zanetti? Nice.
Yeah. So he plays bass for us whenever we need him, just at shows and stuff. And
very cool.
Because we're technically a 3-piece, so it's just me, Derek, and Andrew.
Really? Okay. Yeah. I mean,
so all we need for our live show is a bass player.
Okay.
So Brian and our friend John, he was in a band called Atlas. I don't know if you've heard of Atlas.
I don't think so. No. I was like,
okay.
I'm John.
He was. Yeah. Hey, you want to fill in?
I don't think I could.
You totally could. But he played in a band called Atlas. He's like a father of 3 and like has this thing going on, but he fills in every now and then. And then do you know Gavin from Escape Artist?
I don't think so. I know the name Escape Artist at least. Yeah.
Well, they're great. I love Escape Artist, and I love everybody in that band, and they are like my other children. They call me Dad.
Hey, they can say it now. You're an actual dad.
So I know. It was wonderful. I actually, dude, when we found out Sarah was pregnant, I literally FaceTimed all of them in our group chat. We have a Novro Escape Artist group chat.
Nice.
And I FaceTimed them, and I was like, guys, I have to tell you.
Like, yeah. So okay. So this isn't a question I had written down, but like I'm just kind of curious now. Like, when did you guys find out that Sarah was pregnant? And like, what was your reaction to that? Oh, it was planned. Okay.
It was planned.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, it was 100% planned. So like, my sister, who's older than me, had a baby, and that was like, it was like, oh, like it'd be really cool if like the cousins grow up together. My cousins, besides one of them, my cousins are all, I think, over 42 or something.
Okay.
Some of them are in their 50s because my dad is the baby of the family, and his eldest sister is, I think, like 12 years or something ahead of him, like older than him. So like her kids are significantly, so like I was thinking of, well, it'd be really cool if my children and my sister's children can like actually be around the same age. That would be sick. Just because I didn't have like too many cousins that were my age.
Yeah,
they were grown up and married by the time I was an adult with their own kids. And then so that was a factor. Another factor is Sarah wants to be done having kids by 30.
Okay.
And she's 26 right now. So we were like, well, it's probably around that time to kind of start.
It's about that
as
time.
Well. Yeah. Well, it's about that. Yeah. As well as I thought personally of my grandfather. So because my dad was the baby, my grandfather was already old by the time I was born. And I'm the baby of my family. So my sister's older than me. So the age gap between my grandfather and myself was so much that he died when I was younger.
Aww.
So it was like, dang. And I think about it. I thought, and actually my grandfather on my mom's side, biological grandfather, passed before I was even born. And then my grandmother remarried again before I was even born, I think. Or in the same year, something.
Yeah.
So my step grandfather, like I knew him. And he was awesome, but I didn't know my mom's dad. I barely knew my dad's dad. My dad's mom was equally as old and went deaf kind of early, and was in a nursing home and so on and so forth. So like conversations with her were not much.
Yeah.
So I thought about that a lot, and I was like, dang, I think of like the relationship I have with my parents is phenomenal. And I know that's unfortunately few and far between now, and I'm so grateful for that opportunity to have that. But I was like, I want my kids to know my dad.
Yeah. That's
and my
good.
mom. Like I want them to grow up not being like, oh well, grandpa was already super old by the time I was born. So that was a factor. That was a big factor. And then also Sarah's dad, who is a school teacher, has really good insurance. And she was under 26. So she had Elliot when she was 25, still on her father's insurance.
Oh, okay.
So we kind of like took the benefit of her still being on her father's insurance because
gotcha.
The insurance pays for her and Elliot.
Okay.
For the first like 30 days of his life or something.
Gotcha. Yeah. In this day and age, that's a big win.
Dude, huge. The amount of money that we would, and like because her father's insurance was so good, like we didn't pay a thing.
Wow.
Like literally no medical bills to have Elliot, which was like literally necessary. Like, and so we kind of strategically planned it where it was like, okay, well, he would be born in in February. She turned 26 in April. Like there's like a couple factors involved. But yeah, so Elliot was very, definitely planned. And we're so happy. Like it's such a wonderful experience. And I think having a kid when you want to have a kid is one of the most like positive things I think like in our life that can happen, especially like having a healthy child.
Yeah.
That's a super, no one really talks too much about that, but when you have a baby, so much of it is like this baby could be born
with any number of ailments.
Any number of terrible things, that you don't want to see happen to your child.
Yeah.
And when you think of like all the things that have to go right in pregnancy, it's kind of insane.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
So many things have to go right. And then, I mean, like how many people struggle even getting pregnant? How many people are like, oh, I literally can't, so like we're so blessed. We got so lucky, with all of that, like, praise God. And, so like, it's been so wonderful, and it's been tough. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I think the best way that I can equate having a baby. Now, obviously, I don't know about a kid and like a toddler or whatever, because he's only 9 months old. But having a baby is not hard. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
Like I think of it this way. I kind of equate it to math. If you have a calculus problem, you have one calculus problem. You're like, this is really difficult. Like, it's a lot of mental power. It's very hard to do this problem, or like a tough physics problem or something. But if you have a times table sheet that has 10,000 times tables on it, your times tables.
Yeah.
Like, it's not hard, but
it's just a lot of brain power and
doing 10,000 of them, if all of a sudden you're like, what's 2 times 1? Okay, 2. What's 10 times 2? Okay, like doing all of that 10,000 times isn't hard. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh my gosh, I have to do this so much.
Yeah, I have to do the same thing over and over and over.
That's what I think it's kind of like having a baby.
Okay.
It's not hard. It doesn't take a lot of brain power. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
Like, especially in the beginning, dude. The first, like, he didn't start sleeping through the night until like into 8 months.
Dang.
So like,
I remember you were telling me you were telling me about like, because I was like, hey, like, would you guys be cool if like we came like the Friday night before to like crash here to make it easier to get set up and everything in the morning? And you were like, yeah, that's fine, but like, it's kind of chaos here because my son never sleeps through the night. or whatever. And I was like, no, it's cool. We thrive in chaos. It's fine. But
yep.
But I remember you telling me, you're like, yeah, he doesn't really sleep that much through the night or whatever. So
yeah, dude, it was hard. And he's sort of sleeping through the night. Sarah was struggling as we were talking already to get him down, like, because we got him down before, and then she was like, "Oh, he woke up. I'm going to try to get him down." So she was struggling there, and then he usually is up at like 5.
Ooh, yep.
So I'm usually up at 5.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tiring, and through the first few months when he would wake up every 2 hours and you'd have to change him and feed him, like, that's not mentally challenging. Like, it's not, you know, it doesn't take brain power, but like, man, not having sleep, like, dude, around the 3-week mark, I was like, I'm gonna die. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I can't sleep, I can't stay awake, like, this is like brutal. I'm in such agony. Then around like the 2-month mark, it started getting easier, but not because he was sleeping, because our bodies were literally getting acclimated to not. Which is
You're
insane.
Like, oh, I'm used to this insane schedule now.
Insane what your body can do and what it can adjust to. So it took us about 2 months to kind of get used to the fact that he woke up every 2 hours. And we had to like do something, feed him or change him or whatever. And then one night, it was a fluke. We thought it was going to happen more. It literally happened one night early in his life. He slept for 10 hours straight.
Wow.
I woke up feeling horrible. Horrible.
I was gonna say, I don't even think I sleep 10 hours straight.
We got so used to the like getting up,
to the routine of every 2 hours or whatever.
When I slept through, I woke up and I was like, "Oh my gosh, did I just get hit by a truck?" It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. And so now, like, we're kind of getting acclimated to like the 5-6 hours of sleep, basically, because like, I mean, now it's 10:40, so he's gonna wake up at 5. Like,
you should probably go to bed soon.
Yeah, that's okay.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, I was gonna wrap it up here in a minute anyway, so it all works out. Because I'm looking at the time for the recording is 2 hours and 39 minutes and like 3 seconds. But heck yeah, brother.
Yo, dude. Yo, dude.
Oh yeah. Yeah, more editing for. Oh, nice. There it is.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Obviously the back is going to get filled in eventually, but
I still need to get this area filled in. Yeah, I believe it. I got my shin done a little while ago. That sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw that or not, but I got my shin done. Just like a lot of like black coloring in black, and looks cool, but it hurt a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think we're gonna wrap it up here. Eric, thank you so much for being on. I appreciate it. This is the longest episode. I think I'm gonna have to do this as a 2-parter because it's
you can cut out all the garbage fluff that I threw in there.
I mean, I might have to. Obviously, I do edit it, so like I will have to cut out some stuff. Probably this, but yeah, it'll be fine. You'll still have at least one part at least, and it'll probably be 2. But either way,
I'm happy
Eric,
to be
thank
here.
you. Yeah, I'm happy to have you here. Thank you so much for being on here. Is there anything you want to say, like anything you want to plug that you got working on or anything like that?
Oh man, check out my studio. Obviously, check out what we do. I make records. My wife makes videos. We work with everyone. We love working with everyone. Please come to the studio, make a record. John is.
I am.
Check out the bands. Check out So Much Hope Buried. Check out Toothless. If you're into more rock, not screamy, So Much Hope Buried. If you're into super metal-y stuff, check out Toothless. If you're into both, that'd be awesome too.
Heck yeah, brother.
Seriously, thank you for doing this with me.
Yeah, no problem. Not a problem at all. I appreciate you being here. Dang it, that's going to be more things to edit out. I just went through our Discord call and our names popped up. I'm going to edit that out. Ugh. Okay. But yeah, thank you so much. Thanks everyone for watching. I'm trying to get better at like having a send-off of being like, thanks for watching. Make sure to, whatever, but just listen.
Smash that notification bell.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
Subscribe.
Yeah, it's going on YouTube and Spotify. So do all the stuff that you need to do on YouTube and Spotify. And we're going to go and go to bed. He's probably going to wake up at 5. I'm going to wake up at like 7. I don't know. I got to work. I got to work in the morning. I got a not studio job.
I work at 9.
That's true. Oh, you have a client tomorrow or something tomorrow?
Yeah. Rock and roll.
Excuse me. Oh, yeah. I thought I was going to burp more. All right. Thanks, Eric. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.